Good morning, Your Honor. This is Donovan Jones, 22 CRA 4174, murder, felonious assault, and disrupting public services.
Good morning, Your Honor. Attorney Tim Corley from the Legal Defender Office of Summit County. On behalf of Mr. Jones, presents a young man. I have explained his cursory charges with him and indicated today that we would enter a technical not guilty to the charges. We would waive reading of the complaints and potential penalties today. As on behalf of him, he does report familial ties closely here with mom, dad, brothers, and sisters. He's been employed for 2.5 years in a warehouse. He does have a child on the way, and he did complete the 11th grade. On his behalf, balancing Rule 46, we'd like to reserve until we hear from pretrial supervision.
Pretrial supervision of a bond recommendation.
Your Honor, we haven't had an opportunity to speak with him yet. Based on severity of the charges, we're asking for a $1 million, 10% bond, maximum supervision, house arrest restricted to a verified address, scram, and passport surrender.
Your Honor, on behalf of Mr. Jones, again, I understand pretrial has not met with him to discuss certain things. We believe with Rule 46, 500,000, 10% would be equitably sought in this matter.
Well, okay. Technical not guilty plea is entered. The court's going to adopt the recommendation at this point in the bond office. Would you repeat that for me, sir?
Yes, Your Honor, it's $1 million, 10% bond, maximum pretrial supervision, intermediate GPS restricted to a verified and approved address, scram, monitoring, and passport surrender.
But you're willing to accept 10% of the million?
Yes.
Okay. GPS to a verifiable address?
We would like our office to approve the address before release. The bond is posted.
All right, so it's a $1 million, 10% bond with maximum pretrial supervision, GPS. Mr. Jones, this bond is always reviewable by either this court or the Court of Common Pleas if you're indicted. So that's how that's going to work. All right, thank you.
Your Honor, this is Deshaun Stafford, 22 CRA 4175, murder and felonious assault. Unrelated case 21 CRB 6107, willful fleeing, resisting arrest, criminal damaging, obstructing official business, and contempt. That is an unrelated case to Judge Hamilton's court.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. On behalf of Deshaun Stafford, Sean is what he goes by. Your Honor, I've been retained by the family attorney John Sin to represent Sean through these matters. At this time, we'd like to enter a technical not guilty plea to all charges. I would tell you that Sean has no prior felony record. The misdemeanors that are attached to this case are going up to another judge. Those are already resolved matters. There's a matter of an outstanding class or something he needs to take. But with respect to this case, Your Honor, and my technical not guilty, I would like to address the issue of bond, although I know I've already been heard.
Let me back up here. So you're saying on the misdemeanor cases, 21 CRB 06107, he is here on the contempt cases?
Yeah, it looks like all the other charges dismissed. There's a failure to pull over charge, and that has a warrant out of there. And that warrant was for not doing a class he was supposed to do.
Okay.
And that, he's going to have to see Judge Hamilton for that.
So you're representing on the contempt?
I will.
Okay, all right. So, and you're a not guilty plea on contempt?
I am.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, back to the main charge. That's the one you want to address on bond, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you may proceed.
Your Honor, I understand that at this level, we don't get necessarily into the facts of the case, but I do feel some background is appropriate in this matter because this has gotten some interest, and I know that the court may have some knowledge. What I would tell you is Sean is 20 years old. As I said, he has no prior felony record, and on the night in question, he and his brother and his cousin went up to play basketball at the I Promise courts. You may know, Your Honor, in fact, I know that you know that those courts were given to the neighborhood, so kids in this situation could get off the streets and get somewhere safe in those well-lit all-night courts on summer night. Sean was up there playing basketball with his brother and his cousin. He is 5'5", 130 pounds, and there was just the three of them on the court playing when a carload of kids, or carload of teenagers, I guess, adult teens, were pulled into the lot. At that point, they opened their windows and opened fire with what at the time seemed to be a fully automatic firearm. That weapon's in the custody of the police now. It turns out that it was a fully automatic paintball gun that had been illegally modified by freezing the ammunition. After these boys were sprayed with the firearm, then the boys from the other vehicle got out, chased them out of the court, assaulted them, and a fight did ensue, where my client is alleged to have defended himself. That's going to be the gist of this case. Again, the investigation is ongoing. It's ongoing. It is a tragedy. The victim in this case, the young man who died, allegedly got punched, hit the ground, and hit the cement. Basically, the injury from the cement may have been what caused the ultimate damage here. We won't know all that until a later time. But I would ask you to take into consideration that these boys were on the basketball court, unarmed, doing what we want them to do, playing basketball, when kids from outside the neighborhood came in a vehicle, spraying them with this crazy paintball gun. With that being said, Your Honor, I think $1 million, 10% is a bond that's not appropriate. I would ask you to consider $500,000, 10%. Frankly, I don't think the families are going to make these bonds. I just want our position on the record, sir.
Sure. What's the bond recommendation office?
Your Honor, we're asking for the same bond that was set on the co-defendant, $1 million, 10% with maximum supervision, intermediate GPS restricted to home, scram, and passport surrender.
I don't think anybody has a passport.
You're asking for, run those conditions by again, please.
Maximum pretrial supervision, intermediate GPS restricted to a verified and approved address, screen monitoring, and passport surrender if applicable.
Court will adopt the recommendation of the bond reporting office for an order $1 million, 10% bond with maximum pretrial supervision, intermediate GPS, and scram.
Your Honor, I'm going to reserve my right to
Sure.
to address bond at a later time once this investigation is completed.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Your Honor, this is Tyler Stafford, 22 CRA 4172, murder and felonious assault.
Thank you, Your Honor. Attorney Corley from the PD's office of Summit County on behalf of Mr. Stafford. As to, will enter a technical not guilty, waive reading of the complaints and potential penalties, and any defect in time, place, or manner at this time. On behalf of him, for a bond argument, he does indicate he is not employed. The last grade he attended was 10th. His ties to the community are a little bit different. It's not full-time. He was separated at birth from his mother and brother at the time, but he has had visitation or interaction with them over the years through a caseworker. We believe that in balancing Rule 46, as to Mr. Stafford, $500,000, 10% would be appropriate with max pretrial supervision.
What is the recommendation for the bond reporting office, the bond office?
Your Honor, we're asking for the same bond that was set on this co-defendant, the $1 million, 10% bond with maximum pretrial supervision, intermediate GPS restricted to a verified and approved address, screen monitoring, and passport surrender.
maximum pretrial supervision.
Yes, Your Honor.
Court order $1 million 10% bond with maximum pretrial supervision, GPS to a verifiable address in Scranton. I believe that concludes the business of that case.